When you get easy questions on the GMAT, it's enough to know what the divisibility rules are. But as the difficulty level increases, you need to also understand the reasoning behind those rules. And that's what this video is about. Almost everyone is familiar with the rules of divisibility by 2 and by 5. In those cases, we just need to know the units digit. But if we can understand the reasoning behind the rules of divisibility by 2 and by 5, then we'll understand the reasoning behind all the other divisibility rules, and that's really going to make or break your performance on those harder difficulty level GMAT questions. So we're going to explore all of that right now. Let's imagine that we have a 4-digit number, and let's call the thousands digit A, the hundreds digit B, the tens digit C, and the units digit D. So we have A1000, B100, C10s, and D units. Now if we wanted to actually write out the value of this number, it would be 1,000 times A, because that's the thousands digit, 100 times B, 10 times C, plus D. So that's the value of the number. And we could rewrite that, taking a 10 out as a common factor for those first 3 letters. You could write it as 10 parentheses 100A plus 10B plus C, close parentheses, plus D. Now, the left chunk of this number is obviously divisible by 10, because we have 10 out as a common factor there. Since both 2 and 5 are factors of 10, the left side chunk is obviously divisible by 2 and by 5. So if we're interested in divisibility by 2 or 5, the only remaining chunk of any interest is D. Whatever remainder you get when you divide D by 2, well, that's your remainder when you divide the entire number by 2. Because the left side chunk doesn't have any impact on the divisibility by 2. Same goes for dividing by 5. The left side chunk has no impact when dividing by 5 because it's clearly divisible by 5 since it's divisible by 10. Therefore, whatever remainder you get when you divide D by 5, that's the remainder you'd get if you were to divide the entire number by 5. So this is the reasoning behind the rules of divisibility by 2 and by 5. I'll try this example. What's the remainder if you divide 3,569 by 5? Well, as we can see here, 3,560 is divisible by 5 because it's divisible by 10. So the only chunk that we need to worry about is the 9. Well, what's the remainder when we divide 9 by 5? 5 goes into 9 once, and there's a remainder of 4. So for dividing by 4, I would want to take out 100 as a common factor from the original number. So we'd have 100 parentheses 10A plus B, close parentheses, plus 10C plus D. So those last 2 digits there as a number, 10C plus D, that's the interesting chunk in this case because the left side chunk is divisible by 100, which of course means it's divisible by 4. So whatever remainder we get when you divide the right chunk by 4, when you divide 10C plus D by 4, whatever remainder you get there, that's your remainder when you divide the entire number by 4. The same reasoning can be applied to dividing by 25, or by 50, or by 100. Really, this would work for dividing by any factor of 100. Well, let's try this example. What's the remainder if you divide 3,569 by 25? Again, we can see here that 3,500 is divisible by 25, since it's divisible by 100. So then the question is, what's the remainder if we divide 69 by 25? Well, 25 goes twice into 50, and there's a remainder of 19. That's the answer. But where this gets really interesting is for the rules of dividing by 3 or by 9. For this, what we're going to do is rewrite, so we had 1000A plus 100B plus 10C plus D. We're going to rewrite it in a very interesting way. We're going to write 999A plus 99B plus 9C plus, and now we're going to bring in the ones that we dropped, A plus B plus C plus D. So again, we have 999A plus 99B plus 9C. That's going to be our left chunk. And you can see there that it's obviously going to be divisible by 3 and by 9. because you could take 9 out as a common factor there. And then all we care about is the right chunk, which is a plus b plus c plus d. That's the chunk that will determine the remainder if we were to divide the entire number by 3 or by 9. And again, the reason there is that the left chunk has no impact on the remainder when dividing by 3 or by 9, because the left chunk is divisible by 3 and by 9. And so the right chunk, a plus b plus c plus d, also known as the sum of the digits, whatever remainder that gets you when you divide it by 3, that's the remainder you'd get if you divide the entire number by 3. So what a lot of people memorize is that if the sum of the digits is divisible by 3, the number is divisible by 3. Well, that's another way of saying if the remainder is 0 when you divide the sum of the digits by 3, the remainder will also be 0 when you divide the original number by 3. Of course, the same goes for 9. It's not just for the remainder of 0, it's for any remainder. Whatever remainder you get when you divide the sum of the digits by 3 or by 9, that's the remainder you'll get when you divide the entire number by 3 or by 9. And again, what's the remainder when you divide 3,569, this time by 9? Well, we can just add the digits of 3,569. So we get 23 divided by 9. And what's the remainder if we divide 23 by 9? Well, 9 goes in twice, and there's a remainder of 5. Well, try this question that I borrowed from an actual GMAT question. You can pause the video here and try this on your own. Well, as we've seen, we know that if the remainder is 2 when you divide the sum of the digits by 9, the remainder will still be 2 when you divide the actual number by 9. Let's also talk about divisibility by 6. So 6 is a product of 2 and 3. In order for a number to be divisible by 6, it has to be divisible by both 2 and by 3. So we know what it takes to be divisible by 2. You'd need to have an even units digit. And we know what it takes to be divisible by 3. The sum of the digits would have to be divisible by 3. So if both of those conditions are in place, then the number is divisible by 6. And you could use that reasoning for divisibility by any product of two numbers. So if we're talking about divisibility by 15, well, it would have to be divisible by the factors of 15, which are 3 and 5. So again, for 3, it's going to be divisible by 3 if the sum of the digits is divisible by 3, and it's going to be divisible by 5 if the units digit is either 5 or 0. So if both of those conditions are in place, then your number is divisible by 15. If you like this approach, be sure to check out my book. It's all in there. What do you want me to talk about in my next video? Type it down in the comments below and maybe I'll make a video just for you. Make sure you're subscribed and click that little bell icon below so you don't miss any future videos. See you next time.